It's the 13th day of the 2005 U.S. Open, and what a great day it should be. Sunny skies overhead at Arthur Ashe Stadium, where two men's semifinals matches will take place. The first will feature an All-American conflict between the veteran 35-year-old Andre Agassi and that man you see there, Robby Ginepri. Hello, I'm Kevin Skinner along with Chris Bowers. And Chris, we see sort of a battle of two guys who have come to know the term hard work through different roads.
Yes, they have. I think there's a point in every player's career where they come up through the juniors, they have a great, it's up and up and up and up and up, and then maybe a couple of years into their full tour career, they have a setback and they work hard at it, and then they have a major setback, and they face the question, do I really want this? I've been rising all my career, I've now lost something, maybe through an injury, maybe through just a lack of motivation because the novelty value is gone. And Agassi reached that point, I think, very early. He reached it, well, he probably reached it twice. Once after his first Wimbledon triumph, when in 1993 he very much went down in the rankings, and in early 94 seemed to be a slightly spent force. And then he had it again at the end of 97 when he got down to 141 in the rankings. And on both occasions said, right, do I want this or don't I? Because if I do, I've got to put the work in. And I think it happened to Robby Ginepri about 8 weeks ago, when he just realized his career was going down the drain. And he was dropped by his clothing company. So it's funny, both these guys were under the same clothing company a few weeks ago. Both have now split from that clothing company. And in Ginepri's case, it was very much a signal of, right, I'm either going to have to do something with my career or just let myself fade away. And that's why for many people he's a shock semi-finalist, because it happened fairly recently. But I wonder whether, if he can continue what he's done in this past week, irrespective of today's results, then I suspect that we could be thinking of Ginepri not quite in the same terms as Agassi, but certainly as one of the household names of tennis in a year's time.
That is the first of two men's semi-final matches on what they call Super Saturday in New York. Robby Ginepri from the United States facing the number 7 seed Andre Agassi.
Please welcome Robby Ginepri. At 35 years old, he's competing in his 20th consecutive U.S. Open. He owns 8 Grand Slam singles titles and is one of only 5 men to have won all 4 Grand Slam tournaments. He's an 11-time member of the U.S. Davis Cup team and won Olympic gold at the '96 Games in Atlanta. He recently captured his 60th career ATP singles title at the U.S. Open Series event in Los Angeles. Appearing in his 10th U.S. Open semifinal.
Well, the weather outside is positively delightful and perfect for tennis. 74 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees Celsius. The wind has kicked up just a little bit, 8 miles per hour, 11 kilometers per hour. But the skies are sunny and there is nary a cloud to be seen. And we don't expect there to be any problems. Born and lives in the oasis in the desert, Las Vegas, Nevada. At 35, he's proving age is just a number. His ranking is number 7. He's been in the top 10 9 of the last 10 years. He being Andre Agassi. His 2005 record, 31 of his 37 wins have been on hard courts. He's reached 2 finals, winning his 60th career in Los Angeles and losing to Rafael Nadal in Montreal. The U.S. Open, his 20th consecutive year in New York. Last year,
3 hours, but Agassi has had the benefit of 2 days off. 2 years ago, he had just look at Blake's. Blake's had 3 successive 5-setters. So, sorry, not Blake, Ginepri. Ginepri's had 3 successive 5-setters, and I think that could start to tell if this goes long. It's strange that with Agassi at 35 and Ginepri at 22, you think that Ginepri's going to have the advantage the longer it goes, but I suspect it's the other way around, given that the length of time he's been on court. I do think that Agassi's been helped by the schedule this year, not just the schedule, also the weather. Because 2 years ago, he was in a brilliant position, he had a great draw, but then we had the rain, and he had to play 4 matches in 4 days, and he won 2 of them, but in the 3rd semi-final against Ferrero, he lost. The weather has been beautiful here. In fact, a few minutes ago, I just went up on the roof It's very easy when we get into our air-conditioned commentary box here to be slightly insulated from what it's really like. It is beautiful. On top of the roof, where you can see the skyline of New York, there was very little wind, and it's bright. That's the thing that struck me most. It's bright. It's very nice conditions. They said a maximum of 81 today, which is 27 Celsius. And, you know, they could go 5 sets without it being seriously punishing. Humidity about 65%.
It is just half-past noon in New York. Things will get underway. Robby Ginepri serving from the top of your screen. Legend Andre Agassi below.
He's going to forget that he's a legend today. He's playing the guy on the other side of the net. Well, we're going to have a lot of them.
15 all. $30 all.
Yeah, Ginepri can't afford that. Agassi's barely made a mistake. He put one forehand into the net at full stretch on the first point, but Ginepri pushes that back mid-court. He can kiss it goodnight.
And Andre Agassi starts things off, breaking the serve of Robby Ginepri. Moves ahead, 1-love.
Ginepri looked a bit sluggish then. I'm sure both these guys will have done all their warming up. They'll have hit for an hour on a practice court earlier on. Andre Agassi always in perfect physical shape because he's got his, well, his best friend is also his fitness trainer, Gil Reyes.
Andre Agassi.
In Agassi's box with Steffi Graf.
Andre Agassi, 8 career Grand Slam singles titles, 2 here at the U.S. Open. Set to serve for the first time. Opening set. First semifinal. Men's draw. Stadium opened in 1997. USTA National Tennis Center in Flushing Meadows, New York, seats just over 23,000.
And in that first year, Agassi lost to the eventual champion, Patrick Rafter, in the 4th round. It's very much an Agassi at the nadir of his professional fortunes, on his way down to 140th in the world.
Only year he hasn't won a title since winning his first back in 1987. That was the bad blip on the screen in 1997. Otherwise brilliant career. 15-30. back here. First service game of Andre Agassi.
I wonder whether the word chance is appropriate when Ginepri gets a serve like that. There's nothing he could do on either.
Deuce.
Agassi has started very, very sharp. I know he's found the net 3 times, but finding his mark on most other occasions.
Another break point for Ginepri. Trying to even finish 1 game all. Another break point erased.
This is terrific, isn't it? Makes you rethink the whole concept of aging. Do we, because the sports person is supposed to have their best years between 20 and 30, do we get hung up about the idea that, oh, he's over 30, therefore must be slowing down? Yep. Much more difficult shot than it looked for Ginepri. Ooh.
Might have been wide. Moved the deuce for the 3rd time anyway.
Well, it looked good when I saw it in real time.
Agassi is known for his keen eyesight, being able to spot that. He didn't put up much of an argument.
I also think that when we talk about aging, I think Agassi's eyesight is one of the things that's kept him so sharp at 35. And it's the same with Connors.
Agassi moves ahead 2-love opening set.
Well, they say you've never held serve, you've never really broken until you've held in the next game. I think that was particularly appropriate then, especially at the start of a match.
Andre Agassi is known for trying to send messages across the net, sending the message to the younger Ginepri. I really came to play today. Not just sort of, not just half-hearted. I really came to play. And no residual effects from back-to-back 5-set matches.
Well, yes, but they've had 5 out of 6 between in their last 3 rounds, these two.
Unsighted, 15 all.
15 all.
Steve Ulrich had to make a decision then because the line judge was unsighted. But I think both players accept that.
Maybe 15. all.
30 all.
Net. Proceed.
This is the way Ginepri plays. Hasn't got a really big shot, but when he opens up the court, he hits deep enough, or has this fortnight hit deep enough to make it work for him.
Ginepri holds. Broken in his first service game, trails Andre Agassi 2-1 in the first set.
Well, if Agassi were to win this tournament, he wouldn't be the oldest champion, not even in the Open era. Back in 1970, Ken Rosewall was 35 and 315 days, whereas Agassi is a mere 35 and 135 days. But Rosewall was phenomenal. It was an era where the competition wasn't quite as intense as it is now, but Rosewall was a finalist at the US Open and Wimbledon at the age of 39, lost both to Jimmy Connors. Rosewall played with phenomenal economy of effort. He was only 5'7" or 1m70, but he was known as Muscles. That was his nickname because he was so slight. But he had just impeccable timing. He was one of the first of the modern era to take the ball on the rise. He would step in and just rob his opponent of time, and that worked extremely well. He'd probably have won more titles were it not for the split amateur and professional circuit, which didn't end until 1968, when tennis went open. So when we refer to the open era, it's since 1968 when all competitions were open to all top players.
Andre Agassi up a break, serving 2-1. Love.
Pete Sampras used to say that he doesn't know anybody who strikes the ball as well as Agassi. Again, Agassi not the tallest, 1m80, 81.
Agassi holds it love, moves ahead 3-1. Unseeded Robby Ginepri, first unseeded man to reach the semifinals since year 2000. Todd Martin actually lost to champion that year, Murat Safin.
Ooh.
Rarely see Andre Agassi miss by that much.
Popped into the bushes.
Only unseeded champion in the Open era, which Robby Ginepri is hoping to duplicate, is the man across the net from him, Andre Agassi.
Yes, interestingly, he would be seeded in today's world because he was the 20th ranked player in an era when they seeded only 16. Agassi started working with Brad Gilbert in April of 1994, and it really came to fruition at the US Open when he won it as the 20th ranked player, unseeded. He stays the seed 32.
but there were two previous to 1968. Al Anderson in 1957 and Fred Stahl in 1966. US Open champions. 30-15.
That's the Ginepri cam.
That's Ginepri.
That's Ginepri.
30-all.
See the touch that Agassi gets on this. There's no value other than that it doesn't count as an ace.
Five. Ginepri holding serve for 2 straight games. Still down a break. 3-2 in the first.
You mentioned Todd Martin there, Kevin. Obviously the semi-finalist here. But I remember when Todd Martin beat Agassi at Wimbledon in '93. Agassi was at the time the defending champion. Martin goes into his press conference, and the first question asked of him was, "Do you feel like the man who shot Bambi?" And I suspect that that's the role that Robby Ginepri has today. Everyone really, apart from Ginepri's closest family and supporters, would like to see Agassi in the final. I think it would be a great thing for boosting the profile of tennis in America, if not the world. But Ginepri has the job of trying to thwart it.
There is also the side to the crowd here that has come out to see some incredible tennis today that may, if Ginepri falls behind, being an American, playing on American soil, perhaps rooting for the underdog to make it a reasonable match, but I think you're absolutely correct. The majority of the people here have come to see Andre Agassi move on to the final. Agassi to serve in a match that guarantees that at least one American male will reach the final tomorrow. The vast majority of the 23,000 plus here at Arthur Ashe Stadium seem to be wanting it to be Agassi himself.
It's a risk of serving out wide when your opponent's standing fairly close into the baseline. Not serve wide at all. But, there you go. There's a wide serve which elicits the error.
15-all.
These players practice drills. It's something that I think was developed by the Bollettieri Academy in Florida, but every player, whatever their philosophy, does this. They hit forehand to forehand to forehand to forehand ad nauseam all afternoon, backhand to backhand, and you saw it in that rally. Great coverage from Agassi. And you know, in these practice sessions, 50-stroke rallies are not uncommon. Players get to 100-stroke rallies. The idea being that when they're in a match situation like this, there is never one stroke too many. Well, I'm pleased to see Ginepri doing something different. He's been a little predictable so far. On that occasion, charging in behind the serve, behind the return, I beg your pardon. He wants to do that, not every time, but just occasionally, just to keep Agassi on his toes.
Fourth break point for Robby Ginepri in the opening set. Chance to get back on serve. He can convert. So look at Agassi's second serve, which has been successful only 38% of the time. Just like that, Robby Ginepri has broken the number 7 seed. 3-all.
Can't help feeling this first set's going to be very, very important. It's less important in a best-of-5 sets match than a best-of-3 sets, but given how much tennis these guys have played, whoever loses it will feel tired.
Legs will start to grow weary.
Yep. And mind will grow weary as well. The thought of, oh, got to go to at least 4 to win this.
Number 3 for Robby Ginepri, 116 miles per hour, 186 kilometers per hour.
40 love.
From Agassi, both players move quickly on their serve. Serve moves to 40 love in favor of Ginepri.
Poor game from Agassi.
Ginepri, he holds it love and moves ahead now. 4-3, first set.
What's been interesting, Kevin, is that Agassi struggled with his serve from the northern end. I don't know if the sun is a factor. He's wearing a cap today, but he saved 3 break points in his opening service game, which was from the north end. Held comfortably, I think, to love for the second service game, and then was broken on that occasion.
Andre Agassi, 35 years old, and it's been stated time and time again at this U.S. Open how much more time is there left in the hourglass. But he's defying all the odds.
He's been asked that for 5 years. Connor's spent a decade being asked that, and says his best US Open was the one when he was 39 years old. He got to the semis.
It's interesting that people keep posing the question to somebody who, for the last 10 years, has been in the top 10 every year but one, and continues still ranked in the top 10. He's just a hair outside of the top 5 in the world.
Yep.
So for those who have shown up here at Arthur Ashe Stadium, the overwhelming feeling is it may be one of the last times to be able to see this great champion perform tennis courts here in Flushing Meadows. Number 7 seed will now serve, trailing 3-4.
15 love.
Your observation thus far, right on, spot on, as they say. All 6 service points from this end, the south end, he's won.
That's right.
30 love.
There you go. Predicted.
30-15.
Ginepri guessed right. Obviously getting enough weight behind the ball.
40-15.
40-15.
Yes, caught the line.
40-15.
Stick out the racket, use the speed against the server, find the line.
Yeah, very much using Agassi's pace. Interesting. Very interesting. Ginepri is thinking his way through this.
4 games off.
Throwing that very lofted ball. He could have done with a bit more depth, certainly on the second one. But he's trying to just break up Agassi's rhythm. I'm a great fan of throwing in the occasional slice or lofted topspin ball just to make the opponent create pace. Agassi is very good at creating his own pace, so that's going to be less effective. But Ginepri is trying different things here.
Agassi's a fan of getting into long extended rallies and using his strength to return those ground strokes and force the opponent to make a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, plays from Ginepri, and the danger in that is, with all his experience, Agassi usually wins those points. All right, strategy from Ginepri.
30-15.
30-15.
Yeah, those are too short. They won't work.
30 all.
Crucial couple of points coming up because, as we were saying, Agassi hasn't served convincingly from the northern end, which he'll serve from in a minute. Agassi throwing in 2 slices, and on the second one, Ginepri trying to go for some pace, put the ball wide down the line.
Battle of patience versus impatience is won by Agassi. Sets up the second break chance in the match for Andre. He was able to convert the first time.
Yep.
Agassi catches the back baseline, palms down from the fine judge, and moves ahead with the break 5-4. Will come back to serve for the first set.
Well, this is the last point here. Agassi peppering the backhand. Ginepri going. No, that's right. This was earlier on. Agassi had played 3 to the backhand. That was the forehand drive volley. So very much a defensive shot from Ginepri. Agassi stepping forward, decided to take it on the full. I think quite right to do so. Seeing a little a camera angle that you can't see. That was absolutely bang on the baseline.
28 minutes, first set. Moving along very swiftly through the first 9 games.
Well, they're getting on with it. They're not messing about between points. They're both players that get on with the points, take no longer between points than necessary, and that's good. I've mentioned that a few times this tournament, but I really believe in, tennis has got to be constantly in people's minds. If he keeps stopping and starting, then it's harder to get people interested.
Andre Agassi has played the U.S. Open every year for the last 20 years. He's twice walked away champion. Now serve for the first set, first semifinal of Super Saturday in New York. Ace number 2 in the match, 15 love.
It was like brushing snow off the doorstep or beating a carpet. Gentle swat here.
Just over the post. And give Agassi triple set point. Set point averted by Ginepri. Agassi went on a 7-point run. Still facing 2 more. Steffi Graf in the background, wife of Andre Agassi.
Foreground Arlen Kantarian, the chief executive of professional tennis at the USTA. Effectively makes him the chief functionary, translating executive titles. Twice that Ginepri has had to stretch for a two-hander and got more pace on it than Agassi was expecting. Missed it.
Andre Agassi takes the first set from Robby Ginepri. 6 games to 4.
It was a very clever final point from Agassi. Not a shot that he'd always get away with, but on a big point like this in a Grand Slam semi-final, Ginepri really took it to him. Agassi having to play the defensive slice. Now the down the line approach. Agassi hitting the ball so high. Like coming down with ice on it. Just playing to the nerves of Ginepri. Very, very cleverly done. Yes, he's frustrated. Again, Agassi watching that one go. But I suspect a sense of relief.
3 service breaks in the first set of the semifinal match. As expected. 1 more for Andre Agassi helps him secure the first set. Best of 5 meeting. Winner looking to advance to the final to face either Roger Federer or Leighton Hewitt. the second semifinal. Come up later today.
That's not before 3 o'clock, which is 2 hours from now. At this rate, it'll start on time. Got a lot of tennis to be played in this match yet.
First set goes to Andre Agassi, winning 6-4. Date 10 years ago. Doesn't sit well with Agassi. His arch rival, Pete Sampras, won his third U.S. Open men's singles title, defeating the then #1 seed and defending champion, Agassi, in 4 sets in the final. And there you look at another Grand Slam champion, part of that family, Steffi Graf, married to Andre back in October of 2001.
In time that you should mention that final in 1995 between Sampras and Agassi, because that final lives in the memory for 1 point. It was the point at which Sampras won the first set. It was just the most phenomenal 24-stroke rally. In any other match, I suspect all 24 would have been winners. And it spawned a TV commercial in which they went on hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting and never stopped. Just a phenomenal rally. Agassi rather lost heart after losing that final. Didn't finish the year #1, despite having played phenomenally well for the first 2/3 of it. Yes, Agassi didn't get enough depth on the approach then. It allowed Ginepri to have a much fuller swing than he might otherwise have had.
Ginepri holds, goes up 1-love, second set. And a good look at the new blue courts they've put here.
I think
on
they
Arthur
work.
Ashe Stadium.
I think they work. I think they've added a distinctive touch to not only the US Open, but the US Open Series.
Very even statistically in the first set, with the exception of the break point that gave Andre Agassi that opening set as he will serve. But yeah, I agree. The players seem to like it. The fans seem to like it. The blue courts here, Arthur Ashe Stadium, which ran through the entire summer of, as Chris mentioned, the US Open Series. It helps the ball to stand out. I know we television commentators enjoy that. Ginepri walked away, conceding the point right away, as he knew he was in no man's land.
Not a bad tactic from Ginepri. For a start, it's different. Secondly, come at Agassi, make him pass you. Not a bad passing shot player though, Agassi.
You know, sneak one of those in per match. 15-love.
Yes.
And he continues to amaze Andre Agassi, to the fans' delight. It's funny in bringing up that loss to Sampras 10 years ago. For Andre Agassi, somewhat in the middle of his career. And for Robby Ginepri, he was 12 years old.
Yeah.
Not even a teenager. You see.
To those of us there, it feels like yesterday, I assure you. Realize you're getting old. You realise that something a couple of years back was actually 10. I was in the old stadium, the second last final there.
Agassi holds it love.
That's an
Things 1-all.
interesting game there, because you could say, oh well, yeah, so Ginepri missed on 2 or 3 occasions, but that's the kind of sign that I've been looking for. Ginepri's got to be careful that his whole game doesn't start unraveling here. He's played such a good tournament. He's now dropped the first set. He knows he's got to go a long way to win this. He's making rather a lot of unforced errors now. And this could be a bit of mental tiredness. Might also be physical, but more likely mental at this stage.
Serving relatively well. Relatively well, doesn't quite get it done against a player of Andre Agassi's caliber.
Well, certainly the best returner of his generation, possibly still the best returner.
Those uninitiated in such endeavors, Chris, what is the thing that makes Andre so good at returning the serve of his opponent?
He sees the ball so early. Talked a lot about his eyes. He stands close to the baseline, sees it, swings. There are people who say he wouldn't have been as good a returner in the wooden racket era because the new composite materials allow for a bigger sweet spot, the spot of optimum hitting efficiency, and therefore he can afford to swing the racket at the ball and still get a good contact.
Back-to-back aces from Ginepri.
But I think actually that's doing a slight disservice to Agassi's eyes. He sees the ball very, very early. I don't know if he's ever had his reflexes tested.
Ginepri takes the racket out of Agassi's hand on 2 points. That's a great way to avert the greatest, or one of the greatest returners of all time. Hold serve, moves ahead 2-1 in the second. We made mention of the blue courts here at Arthur Ashe Stadium and the look from the USTA to consolidate the look across the North American stretch of the US Open Series. The US Open Series came about to try to generate interest, not only for the US Open, for the entire North American hardcourt circuit. And Robby Ginepri started things off in very good fashion, winning the very first tournament in the US Open Series in Indianapolis with some good wins for his childhood rival, Andy Roddick, also Taylor Bent.
I think it's worked, the idea of a recognized series in the run-up to the US Open. It wouldn't work on grass because they only got 2 weeks, even if they had an extra week. I don't think it was long enough for a series. It might work on the clay in Europe in the run-up to the French Open, but I think it certainly works here. I'm not sure that I necessarily approve of the idea of doubling the prize money. I mean, if Kim Clijsters were to win the women's singles final later tonight, she would double her 1.1 million prize money as a result of winning the US Open Series. That for me is extra prize money that's not necessarily called for, but I like the idea of the series, the uniformity.
US Open Series comprised of 10 men's and women's events for the North American hardcourt circuit, resulting in points being awarded to players. Top 3 point earners after the US Open Series able for more prize money. From Agassi. Andre Agassi actually did very well for himself in that US Open Series, coming in second behind Andy Roddick. So Agassi can take 50% of whatever he earns here at the US Open, add that to that total. So by winning in Los Angeles, his 60th career title. By Ginepri to go ahead left 30. And then also making the Masters Series Montreal final where he lost to Rafael Nadal. Obviously a good showing this summer.
Left 30 though. Oh, he's gone long. He could have come into the net after that third stroke of the rally, but he waited to see which way Ginepri committed himself. Played the backhand, perfect direction, bad length.
All even in winner's errors by sets, but look where Agassi's serving from, Chris.
Yep. Twice broken from that end now.
North side, not kind, Andre Agassi, as far as service games. Ginepri takes a 3-1 lead in the second set.
See any of the spectators looking up, it's because there's a pattern in the sky saying Clijsters versus Pearce, women's singles final live tonight. It's in just under 7 hours time.
15 love.
Amazing how those Skyriders are able to do that, isn't it?
It's fantastic.
15 love.
Agassi makes it look so easy. This is going to tell if the match goes to 4 or 5 sets. Ginepri doing an awful lot of running. He seemed to relax in that 2-1 game after a run of errors. It brought him his best spell of the match. He's going to be losing it now though. 15-30 second serve. A bad drop shot from Agassi. He used the drop shot very, very well against Malise and against Blake. He's given far too much air.
30 all.
Mainly because he was standing behind his baseline. He's got to be a little bit closer in, I suspect. Also, his most effective drop shots against Blake were down the line backhands.
Break point for Andre Agassi. Perfect thus far.
That old,
Continues to be perfect.
old statement in tennis, it's not how many points you win, it's which points you win.
Back on serve. Agassi will move to the south end, trailing 2-3. Chris, in this day and age, we look at prize money and the earnings of professional athletes, and we often frown upon the discrepancy between what is essentially sport and entertainment and what people out there make. But going back to the U.S. Open Series, I'm just curious if you thought, in my mind, I agreed with it first, and I perhaps still do, but I wonder if the thinking, impetus in trying to double or 50% of the money, the prize money earned here, was to generate interest from the player side, to keep them interested in playing throughout the summer series rather than pull out of events and be spotty in their attendance.
Probably. I'm just not sure how much the marquee names, the names you want to attract, are attracted by extra prize money. Obviously, they like good money, and at times you can get them into tournaments, lesser ranked tournaments with prize money guarantee or an appearance fee, kind of sums that aren't normally talked about. But I don't know. I think generally speaking, players plan their schedules according to the main tournaments. And does a top-level player play an extra tournament on the US Open Series because of increased prize money? I'd be surprised. Maybe lower-ranked players might, but the top-ranked ones, they earn enough. It doesn't matter so much.
Attendance by the top players, you're probably right in that respect, because Roger Federer only played one.
Yeah, he played an awful lot on clay. He needed to, I think, recharge his batteries a bit.
Agassi back to serve from the south end. They're back on serve in the second set after breaking Robby Ginepri. About 15.
Too good. Ginepri is finding his range by and large on that backhand down the line, which means Agassi's got to be careful not to leave too big a gap.
Net for 6.
Yes. Slightly speculative return from Ginepri, full stretch, but landed right on the baseline.
3 chances to break the serve of Agassi now for Ginepri. First, still has 2 to go. .1540.
Twice Ginepri's missed on a slice backhand. The advantage of the slice is that it's generally a high percentage shot. It's not a powerful shot, it can be used to break up the opponent's rhythm, but it's one that, generally speaking, you want to have about 95% of the time going in. He's missed 2 of those. Neither occasion particularly under pressure. Ginepri is entitled to be very, very angry with himself.
Squandered 3 break chances against Andre Agassi.
He really did squander them. Yeah, good call.
Deuce.
Very good use of the court by Robby Ginepri.
4th break point of this service game. Chance to go up 4-2. Robby Ginepri.
We praised Ginepri's use of the court on one point. You've got to praise Agassi's use of it on that one.
Deuce for the 2nd time. Wide up the racket of Agassi, and again another break point, 5th time in this game. I wonder how many chances Ginepri's going to get.
Fantastic recovery from Agassi, and in fact he won that point because Ginepri just ran out of steam. He'd done so much running earlier in the point, and I was thinking as that point was still on, this is worth a point to Agassi, even if he drops his serve. And he played as much tennis in the last 7 days as Ginepri has. That's going to hurt, but more so for having lost it. Well played. I admire the guy's tenacity. Agassi's running him round the court, he's threatening to run him ragged. Hasn't lost heart. This is why it's been such a breakthrough period for Ginepri, this tournament, and the couple leading into it.
Second serve. Break point.
Well, Agassi kicks that one quite deliberately, the classic right-hander serve to the advantage court. Get the ball to kick. It just means it goes away from the player. That's particularly effective with a two-handed backhand. Another slice backhand from Ginepri misses, and that had the air of tiredness about it. He's had 6 break points in this game.
Agassi's turn to have the advantage. Again, we're at deuce.
Well, there's a certain pattern you sometimes see in big games. One player has a whole load of opportunities. The other one saves them, then the first player has a chance. You could see Ginepri thinking, oh, please, this guy, make a mistake. I think this is a pivotal game for Ginepri. Agassi can afford to lose it and still win this set, still win the match. I suspect if Agassi wins this game, especially as Ginepri's now had 7 break points.
Net. Person.
That's tired. That's this one, yeah. Feet nowhere near the ball. Oh, what a great game for Agassi. Listen to the crowd. There are some people on their feet. I think they know that that could be crucial.
Three games all. Robby Ginepri makes his home in Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. Starting to show the wear and tear of having to chase the balls. Andre Agassi offers
Seats, please.
growing up Ginepri admired Michael Chang, somewhat of a hero in the tennis world for Ginepri. His tenacity, being small, able to move around the court quickly.
I don't want to criticise the approach from Ginepri because I've been saying he's got to do 1 or 2 different things, and he has been, but I did get the sense that that was an attempt just to win the point as quickly as possible.
posture of Robby Ginepri starting to show some wear and tear. Perhaps a little disbelief, allowing 7 break points to get away, and everything he offers to the other side of the net just keeps coming back. Love 30.
That's how it's got to play.
Previous game, saw Ginepri's ability to use his quickness to get around. He lost it. Physical exertion starting to creep up on him. Played a lot of tennis this fortnight.
Yes, it's not just the physical exertion. There's also he's been through so many tight situations. He's come through most of them, certainly the most important ones. He's got to try and summon up the mental energy to beat an even higher quality opponent. Break point. He's been doing all tournament, finding his best tennis on the most important points.
Deuce.
Net versus.
Ginepri's convinced the serve was out.
Serve was good. In the chair.
Serve is not even close to being good.
Serve was not even close to being good.
You did see Ginepri just serve and then stand there, making no effort.
Well, that was on the line, wasn't it? I mean, unless the technology isn't working, again, that might be also a sign of...
That ball was definitely on the line. He was talking about the service.
The serve, yeah. I don't know, it might be a sign of Ginepri just not having the stomach for the fight anymore. I'm sure he has got the stomach for the fight, but it's like trying to do things when you're tired. We've all been there, whatever walk of life we work in. Well, he's won his serve, and that's a terrific effort.
Heads to the chair, leading 4-3 in the second set. Robby Ginepri.
We talk about age as a strange concept, and that you tend to review your understanding of getting old when you see someone like Agassi. And I think tiredness is another one. The reason people get sent on outward bound courses and you know, these sort of 3-day trips into the forest or climbing up mountains is just to work out your threshold of tiredness and how much you still can do when you're tired. And that we all have waves of tiredness, and I tend to sort of get very sleepy around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Once I'm through it, I'm fine, and everybody will know what they can go through. And I suspect that with Ginepri, he's feeling tired at the moment, but he will be fine later in the day. He's just got to get through this wave of tiredness and hope that maybe he can get a second wind, and when necessary a third wind, and if necessary a fourth wind, so that he can come through this match. He can still win it. I think that was a crucial game for him to win, because that long game that Agassi won was ripe for a break, but he saved the break point and held serve.
Robby Ginepri up 4-3, being tested. First 2 men's semifinals today on Super Saturday. Some 2005 U.S. Open. Opponent number 7 seed Andre Agassi to serve.
Yep.
Interesting to see how Robby Ginepri responds to this, though. As you mentioned, so much tied in, both the physical side having an impact on the emotional side. See him getting very frustrated out there, perhaps because he's a young man of 22, very physically fit. Help but wonder how you almost at that age feel invincible, and you feel as though, hey, I put myself in a position to be in great shape, and yet I'm running around, I'm winded. And you see frustration creep into his game.
Well, he's playing a very cunning player. You know, Agassi knows how to make use of all these situations. He's got plenty of options. He's got a simple game, basically based around taking the ball early, short backswings. Good depth in the shots. But his placement of serve is good, as we've just seen there. His use of the angles is very good.
Agassi holds for all, and you're right, cunning is a great word for it. He's just sort of a detached antagonist.
Yes. And he knows which balls to chase and which not to.
Very rarely see Andre make any sort of emotional outburst or give anything of himself out on the points as you see him put them together, but still, he's kind of needling you, pressuring you.
Absolutely.
Understated way. 30 love. Making quick work, winning at love. Moves ahead 5-4.
Yes, I think it was interesting to see how little Agassi put into that last backhand. Talk about Pete Sampras at Wimbledon when he was so confident of winning his serve that if his opponent got to 30 love on his serve, he might take a couple of speculative swings, but he wouldn't put a great deal in because he knew that he'd hold his serve maximum of 6 times. And the opponent might be broken at least once, and if not, well, he could do him on a tiebreak. Sampras always denied it, but it was immense confidence. Just looking at the direction of serves here. The majority of his serves to the advantage court are going down the middle, which I find interesting. He's just stick out wide or...
Winning very consistently across the board the other way.
Don't quite understand something in that graphic, and that's that the percentages added up to more than 100, which sometimes makes sense, but in that sense didn't.
When he serves to the advantage court up the tee, he wins 80% of the time.
Oh, I see. Yes, okay.
And then when he serves wide, he's winning 53% of
Got
the
you.
time.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And for the graphics department, working so hard down there in the truck for us. You watching at home, put together a pretty good graphic right there. Andre Agassi, the number 7 seed, up 1 set to none, serving 4-5. direction, unfortunately, Chris, to which direction and where Andre's going with a serve. Haven't seen that. 15 love. Not that you haven't been already, of course.
No, but what's interesting is that if he's winning a lot more points serving down the middle, how much is he aware of that? And does that mean that on the big points, he's going to be hitting it down the tee? Certainly from the advantage court.
And interesting that serving to the advantage court when he's 80% successful down the tee, that's to Ginepri's forehand.
Yep.
40 love. Try to go there again.
Interesting to see what he does with the second serve now. And there's that play of going down the middle and then the cross course. And he'll be thinking 2 or 3 strokes ahead. He'll say, if I go down the middle, the chances are he'll return to my forehand.
Back-to-back games, one at love for each server. Can Robby Ginepri continue the trend? After the first point is no. 15.
Yeah, it's overruled by Steve Ulrich. I certainly saw that on the line. We're a long way up in our commentary position, but yeah, there you go. The ball seemed to, when it touches the line, it seems to be very clear.
By Agassi's body. It took a little while to make the call.
Well, then he should put his hands in front of his face, which is the signal for unsighted, and then the umpire makes the decision. I think justice was done in the end, though. It would be fatuous to say Ginepri, he's playing with fire, he's getting very close to the lines, because if he doesn't, he's not going to win. He's got to play this high-risk strategy, and when it works, it looks magnificent.
40-30.
Prompted as much anything by the US Open's logo, which I think is a great logo.
See, he's not going to stop that strategy. He's just trying to paint those lines.
I thought he'd have lost the second set by now, to be honest, when Agassi won that long game to level at 3-all.
Ginepri's able to hold. I agree. Thought maybe perhaps emotionally he was a little frail, but proving to have a little emotional fortitude. Up 6-5.
Well, he won't be aware of their respective tiebreak records, but his is a negative one and Agassi's is a positive one. So chances are, if it goes to a tiebreak, no guarantees, that Agassi will win it. And therefore, I suspect Ginepri's chances are best served by going all out to break the Agassi serve.
Pardon me, the unforced errors breakdown. Robby Ginepri. See, spreading it a little more towards the backhand, forcing it. It's starting to add up, and that can't be a good thing. Conversely, almost exclusively the errors coming from the backhand of Andre Agassi. He had 11 total unforced errors in the first set. Has 8 now in the second.
Yeah, I think that this has gone a game longer this set than the first one did.
Put the pink one back, please.
Andre Agassi will serve. Trying to hold, send us to a second set tiebreaker. Held his serve at love the last game.
Throughout his career, Agassi's improved that serve. It was okay at the beginning, but it was nothing special. Drop back Agassi's side.
15-30.
This is interesting.
$15-30.
That's too good.
Sly move by Robby Ginepri. Watch the replay on the drop behind the drop.
Agassi hadn't expected that one. He'd stayed back.
2 set points for Ginepri. Second set goes to Robby Ginepri. 7-5. We are even, 1 set off.
Well, bags and bags and bags of credit to Ginepri. To come through that, well, it was a pair of games, wasn't it? That long game when he had 7 break points. Agassi saved it, and then in the next game, Agassi had break points. Saving that has proved very, very important.
6th and 7th games of that second set may have given Robby Ginepri something to work with, in as much as how to battle a man across the net that he is grown to admire and respect. The length of his career and the success in his career. Earlier in the week, Ginepri said of Andre Agassi, he's the king. Meaning that he is the one we all look to as the man who just takes tennis to a whole new level, takes his tennis to a whole level. 15 titles after the age of 30 for Andre Agassi.
Well, if he's the king, then Ginepri is an insurrectionist, having taken the second set. So you can be sure that Agassi will not commit regicide. He will fight on. And I still think he's got the better chance. I think just by dint of winning the first set. Doesn't have to do too much running. Ginepri's done more running. If we had a statistic for how many paces they've taken or how many meters they've run in the course of the match, I'm pretty sure that Ginepri would have done a lot more than Agassi.
And the hallmark of Agassi's career, especially in the last couple of years, is just taking the ball and moving it around the court, making his opponent work that much harder, just to wear them down. Certainly the case today with Robby Ginepri.
Seats, please. Thank you. Third set.
Terrific shot of Arthur Ashe Stadium at the USTA National Tennis Center in Flushing Meadows, New York. Happy you've joined us. Kevin Skinner along with Chris Bowers. Robby Ginepri took the second set. We'll start off the third with his serve.
Love 15.
Thirty 15. All.
His short game is very good at the moment, is Ginepri.
Robby Ginepri holds to start things in the third set. Players will change ends.
Here's a statistic which is completely misleading. Break points. Well, in the second set, it was 2 of 9 for Ginepri and 1 of 2 for Agassi. And over the whole of the match, it's 3 of 13 for Ginepri and 3 of 4 for Agassi. So you'd say, well, Agassi's had a much better conversion rate. But the one Agassi missed was the one that I think could have killed off the entire match, which was the 4-all in the second set. And one of Ginepri's 3 was the one that gave him the second set. So not every point is equal.
Love 15.
Some points are more equal than others.
Sometimes points make a statement of their own. Number 5 in the ace department for Andre Agassi, 30-15. 40-15.
sometimes we commentators get a little hung up on our theories and ideas, but Agassi's been broken 3 times, all 3 from the northern end. And he did have that long game when he had the 7 break points from the southern end, but the fact is he hasn't been broken from this end.
Sometimes, as you mentioned, statistics don't always tell the story, but sometimes they show a trend that is worth noting and mentioning. I find that intriguing as well. That side serving him well, no pun intended, but perhaps useful.
I mean, there is a possible explanation at the moment, though it's getting less and less, and that's the sun. The sun is gradually moving round. 4 minutes to 2. By 3 o'clock, it's not going to be a factor for either man. Sometimes players just get comfortable. I mean, in doubles, you know, a doubles pair will generally agree which side they want to serve from. If there's a wind blowing across court, it might help. The wind blowing across court, it will help the server who can generally swing the ball out wide. So they'll have a distinct advantage from one end. So there are other factors.
Second serve for Ginepri, leading 30-15.
Yeah. What's impressed me throughout this tournament is the way Ginepri has... Every time you think, oh, well, he's going to start succumbing now, he finds new energy. He must be absolutely built like an ox.
Put in a lot of effort to try to get back into shape and be ready for long matches. It served him well, certainly at the US Open this year. Three straight 5-set matches coming into this semifinal.
And this one will be at least 4.
It all began at Wimbledon this year. His 4th consecutive Grand Slam, losing in the first round. He said, just realized, I got to get myself together. I got to get my game back in shape and myself back in shape. Since then, 19-3.
That run of 4 successive Grand Slam first rounds started here last year by Agassi.
Grand Slams to her name, the wife of Andre Agassi. Sees her husband with a break point early in the 3rd.
Oh, he went for too much. It's a bit too low. I think if he'd played for time a little bit more, Agassi would have had a better chance in that point because Ginepri was running out of steam.
He made a mistake. Could have done more with that backhand to get rid of the point and not allow Agassi to remain in it. But
actually, I take part of that back. The ball was higher than I thought. The line judge has put his hand up saying correction.
Replay the deuce point.
Yeah, there you go.
Break point for Andre Agassi. Go up 2-1.
Very good forehand from Ginepri. took it early. It got a lot of top spin on, which meant that ball was shooting away from Agassi as he hit the forehand. It's like playing a half volley. Most people play half volleys when the ball's caught at their feet at the net. Just look at this. Agassi takes this on the rise. Ball almost at its highest point. Beautiful slow motion there. And that was a tired shot from Ginepri.
Third time is indeed a charm. There's 3 break points for Andre Agassi to get at the serve of Robby Ginepri. He's finally successful, moves ahead 2-1.
I talked about waves of energy and tiredness. And Ginepri came through extremely well, but look at that, hardly moved to it. Wasn't a massively angled forehand return. As he takes it early, getting to see the baseline in front of him there. Always hugging the baseline. The result is that...
Some applause from the wife.
They are
Not so much for Ginepri.
They're very affirming of each other.
Well, that's a very confident man. He can go ahead and marry a woman who is won 107 singles titles, 22 Grand Slams. He'll never be able to catch her in the amount of...
No, they've played it slightly on circuits with different degrees of intensity. And Graf had the one big boast of horrific stabbing of Monica Seles, which I suspect slightly inflated her Grand Slam title. Don't know. Seles might have dropped off in her intensity anyway, but it wouldn't have happened quite with the suddenness that it did.
Andre Agassi to serve 2-1 in the third set. 35-year-old, father of 2. Jaden Gill and Jazz L. Son and daughter of Andre Agassi.
Both of whom are here.
See Papa move to the final. Ace number 6 at 120 miles per hour, 193 kph.
One of the things that Jimmy Connors says pleased him most about his run to the semi-finals here in '91 is that his daughter was able to see him play. His son had seen him play earlier on in his career, but his daughter finally got to see him at a big event.
Jimmy Connors, legend at the US Open, 98 career match wins. Andre Agassi, second, 75. .30-15.
Shake of the head. I wonder if that says more than just I've lost that particular point.
Just a little too cute with things.
See, it wasn't off the middle of the racket.
He secures the hold for the veteran. Moves ahead 3-1. 5-time US Open champion, Steffi Graf. Twice won it back-to-back in 88, 89, and then again in 95, 96. 1993 sandwiched in the middle.
The remarkable thing about her triumphs in 95 and 96 is that came into the Open with severe back problems both those years, not knowing whether she'd survive a first round, let alone win the tournament. But whenever she got out there, big stage, the back problems generally went away.
The amazing thing about her first U.S. Open championship, speaking of Steffi Graf, was that secured the Golden Slam for her that year. The final step in winning all 4 Grand Slams and the gold medal at the Olympics. Amazing accomplishment.
Back in '88 against Sabatini.
Robby Ginepri going about his business. Had 40 love. Able to hold it, love. Still trails 2-3. All important third set. Chris, we spoke about the new blue courts here at the USA, and then we also spoke as far as Robby Ginepri back at Wimbledon of this year, getting knocked out for the 4th time in a Grand Slam in the first round. But another first for Robby Ginepri at Wimbledon. Introduction of the sleeveless shirt. Back in 2003, the first player ever to wear that shirt. Here we are in New York, sort of fashion capital, at least in their minds, throughout the world. And your thoughts on sartorial style of Mr. Ginepri?
I didn't like the shirt at first when I first saw it. Moya was wearing it. He was one of the first as well. My feeling now is that it suits some and not others. I think Ginepri looks good in it. I've never thought Moya looks that good in it. I think Nadal does. You know, I suppose it's like any style of clothing or hair. Some things suit some players or some people more than others. And I mean, some people don't like the cap with the peak at the back. I don't call it the cap the wrong way around anymore, because as far as I'm concerned, it's as legitimate to wear it with a peak at the back as it is at the front. But some people can carry it off, others look a bit daft in it.
Caps all the fashion right now on Arthur Ashe Stadium court as both players block out some of the sun overhead, keep their hair in place, as might be the case of Ginepri with his hat turned backwards. Not the case for Agassi.
That's the one reason we know Agassi's not wearing the cap, is to keep his hair in place. That's dropped over. And when Agassi goes for a haircut, the hairdresser says, "Which one, sir?"
15 love. Certainly come a long way from the big puffy haired kid. Neon pink shorts underneath the denim and the whole transformation.
I suspect Agassi would not be as big now if it hadn't been for that image in his late teens and early 20s.
You might be right. He was part of an ad campaign for a camera company here in the United States. The slogan was, "Image is everything."
He's actually quite a conservative guy, really. But he was desperately, desperately insecure in those days.
Another facet of his life that has come full circle.
Yeah.
You won't find anybody else as confident, as more confident in their own skin than you will Andre Agassi.
But it's a confidence that's not an offensive confidence. He is one of the politest guys around. As a top-level tennis player, you have to deal at times with some pretty naff questions from the media. I say that as a member of the media. Sometimes cringe at some of the questions my colleagues come out with. And Agassi and Federer, always model of politeness.
fitting that this match taking place on Arthur Ashe Stadium court, because in line with the transformation and maturity of Andre Agassi, he was twice named the Arthur Ashe Humanitarian of the Year. 1995 and in 2001.
Yes, and he doesn't blow his trumpet about his Agassi Foundation, but that does some phenomenally good work for underprivileged children in the Los Angeles area. He really does put a lot of effort into that, one big concert a year.
Ginepri again, just moving along nicely through his service game. 40 love, 7 straight points on his serve.
Well, the crowd certainly think Agassi won that point twice. Not entirely convinced.
Ginepri still with the upper hand at 40-15. Agassi to serve, 4-3, third set. 7 seed. Two-time champion at the U.S. Open. And continuing in that mindset, Chris, was about the Andre Agassi of the present versus the selfish, sort of self-absorbed one of the past. The Andre Agassi Preparatory School, also in Las Vegas, that does so much that is becoming something of a model throughout the U.S. as far as helping unfortunate and underprivileged children.
I think Agassi went through an intermediate phase. I think he was always somebody who was naturally intelligent without a particularly high level of education. And I think he went through a phase where he thought, okay, you know, I'm known as a bit of a spoilt brat. Let me just be nice to people, and I'll develop this sort of handshaking mode. And I think through that, he learned that when you do give to people at whatever level, even just in a personal relationship, you get so much more back. So I think he's one of these people who I think of as naturally very intelligent. He's processed his experiences in a way that makes him immensely wise, and always has done, well, not always has done, but has done from his late 20s onwards.
Andre Agassi serving 4-3. Third set. Men's semifinals, 2005 U.S. Open. Borough of Queens, outside New York City.
Going to make the comment, I wonder if Ginepri's aware that it's the northern end that he's broken Agassi 3 times, but maybe it's not going to be of relevance this particular game.
With the exception of the one hiccup, third game of this set, Ginepri was broken. Both gentlemen really serving well here in the third set. It's just the 4th point lost on serve by either player in the last 5 service games. 40-15. unfortunate for Ginepri, the current trend, because even if he's able to hold here, Agassi will have the advantage to be able to serve for the third set. Can't worry Ginepri yet. He must do his part by holding.
Help him. Starting with a double fault. Only 3 from Ginepri in the match, just the 1 from Agassi. Hour and 3/4 played.
The yin and yang of the service game. Double fault followed by the 121-mile-per-hour ace. 15 all.
Woman caught that. You can see it on the camera. Ginepri belted that ball away. Woman caught it cleanly and was delighted with her souvenir.
Something that goes along with the blue courts we mentioned. A little USTA fan-friendly change. The lady will get to keep that ball as a souvenir. Does not have to return it to the courts. 30 all.
Fantastic rally. But you do get the sense the longer the match goes on that Agassi is going to win more of those.
Set point. Andre Agassi looking to take a 2-1 lead in the set department. It's a nice look at a second serve from Robby Ginepri.
Is that a shade impatient from Agassi? If he'd made it, we'd say brilliant.
Deuce.
The margin is very small.
Later call would be better.
That was Ginepri commenting on the lateness of the fault call. Set point number 2 for the number 7 seed Agassi. Back to deuce. Agassi will try for the 3rd time. Back to deuce again. Agassi was 3 of 4 in breaks coming into this set. Since then, he's 1 of 6. Well, you got to feel the more chances you have. All you need is one. Fourth set point.
You have the too much. You have to wonder whether that is the pivotal moment of this entire match.
Certainly swings things in favor of the 35-year-old from Las Vegas, Nevada. It's 2-1.
And we have a trainer out to look at Robby Ginepri. Not quite sure what's up at this stage.
Robby Ginepri being attended to by the trainer for a basketball.
That is Bastold, yes.
But smiling during the exchange.
Oh, just a blister on his finger.
Say it didn't look like it was something of major import. If he was in pain, he wouldn't have been smiling during the discussion. Two sets to one lead for Andre Agassi. He faces fellow American Robby Ginepri. Their presence here in the semifinals, obviously guaranteeing an American male in the final. Not so for the women.
Time.
That's been decided. Kim Clijsters and Mary Pierce, Belgium and France, respectively, duke it out tonight. The third set summary shows Andre Agassi winning in just about every way. Better first serve percentage, more winners, less errors, 2 breaks of serve. That ought to get it done in the third set. And it does. Robby Ginepri changing these sleeveless tees that we spoke of earlier. And I wondered, I was going to make mention, do you think there is a functional purpose to the lack of sleeves? Does it help someone perhaps with their mobility?
No, I doubt it. I think the only implication is that it reveals shoulder muscles. And it also, your shoulders can be quite vulnerable to the sun, which on a hot day could make a difference.
Fashion sense aside, it's the man who at one point in his career never thought you'd ever see him wearing all white. Andre Agassi, 15 love.
Certainly not here. He had to wear it at Wimbledon. That's hard on Ginepri. Ginepri goes and hits the sideline. Look at this. Perfect shot. Obviously answers in kind.
30 love. That's where you see Andre Agassi at his best. Chess playing Andre Agassi, if you will, or euphemism, constantly keeping his opponent guessing. A lot of pace and then changing things up with the drop shot. 40 love.
Game Agassi.
Agassi holding it love. Change ends. Robby Ginepri in his first Grand Slam semifinal appearance. Previously had never gotten past the round of 16. Did that twice in 2004. once at the Australian Open, and again on the grass courts in Wimbledon. Showing his finest run as a professional. It's a streak that I think he's ever matched of 19 wins versus 3 losses in his last 22 matches.
39.
Ace for 30 love. 118 miles per hour.
Agassi making a point that he's not convinced about that call. Just close to a protest as we've had from Agassi today.
Fastest serve of the match for Ginepri, 206 kilometers per hour. His 9th. One all.
You do sometimes see this, especially in maybe the beginning of the fourth set. The fourth set's the most obvious one. The players just take their foot off the gas pedal a little bit. They play the first couple of games just hoping to survive.
Chance of what a fan could be heard saying in the background there. There still is perhaps a lot of tennis left to be played.
Yep.
Especially the way these two have been going in the last 6 matches combined. five setters. 2 for Agassi, 3 for Ginepri. Agassi's other match amongst those 6 went 4 sets. Change in the circumstance. Love 30 in favor of Ginepri. I'd be remiss in mentioning how well Ginepri's played of late, winning 19 of 22 matches. Andre Agassi's been on a pretty good run himself. 15 of his last 16. Picking up his 60th career singles title in Los Angeles this summer.
Yes. That is a phenomenal statistic. We sometimes get a little bit punch-drunk with statistics, but 60 career titles.
And to Agassi. Robby Ginepri will serve 1-2, 4th set. Just shy of the 2-hour mark in this match.
The nature of tennis being knockout, it's not like a league where you can afford to lose a couple of matches and the winner is the most consistent over the course of the season. Tennis tournaments are to go unbeaten during the week, and therefore to do that 60 times, last man standing, fantastic achievement.
15 of those titles for Andre Agassi coming after the age of 30. That puts him in unbelievable company. There's only 3 other men ahead of him having won more after that age. The names only happen to be legendary in status.
Pretty comfortably won.
Rod Laver. Ken Rosewall.
Okay.
And Arthur Ashe.
Wow.
But Connors right up in that general vicinity.
Connors carried on going well into his 30s, winning titles. McEnroe was the one who disappointed. If you take McEnroe's career, which was about 77 to 92, he won about 59 of his 77 titles before 85, and after the start of 85, 18, if the maths adds up there. It's from memory, but it's pretty close to that statistic if that's not strictly accurate.
Robby Ginepri serving 1-2. It's up 15 love. digits now for Robby Ginepri in the aces category.
2-hour mark.
40-15.
Two all.
Right, expect the intensity level to rise. We haven't been 4 conceded games, but both players have been a little bit on autopilot, going down from 5th gear to 4th gear. This is why a few years ago someone suggested that we should have sets as the first to 4, so you get into the big games quicker.
In the case of Andre Agassi, it's almost a calculated risk playing at this level. He's up 2 sets to 1, conserving energy, perhaps for the future.
Yeah.
So obviously still focused on this match. All he needs is just 1 break. Part that kind of catches me off guard is Ginepri's thinking, because he's the one who's having come back from 1 set down at 1-2.
I think Ginepri's hanging in there at the moment. I really do. He's waiting for his 3rd wind, or is it 4th or 5th? However many he's already had, +1. He's still thinking as Ginepri. See him standing in there, taking the 2nd serve very early. It didn't matter, but he's just trying to rob Agassi of a bit of time. But I think he knows he can't go these long rallies anymore. See the shake of the head there. I think he's feeling it, physically and mentally.
Agassi leads 3-2, 4th set.
It was interesting that earlier in the tournament, after one of Leighton Hewitt's matches, I was in his press conference, and I just threw him the question, are you doing anything to try and add some finesse or extra elements to your game for the day when you won't be able to move quite as fast? And Hewitt didn't like the question particularly. He sort of said, no, I'm not aware that I'm slowing down, which is not really the question. He's 24, and I'm sure he's still got another 5-6 years of speeding around tennis courts in him. But I was actually thinking of someone like Agassi, who's been aware that he may have lost a little bit of a stride in his pace, but has therefore built in extra elements, and it's really coming into its own here. If you look at that last Agassi service game, the way he took some of the pace off the serves, floated the balls wide, didn't hit his ground strokes too much, but just used the whole of the court so that he could do the most to win with minimum expenditure of effort on his part and to suck a bit more blood out of Ginepri. That's the kind of finesse that I suspect that Hewitt's going to have to develop as he gets further on in years, unless he just says, no, I'm going to play until I realise I'm slowing down and then I'll stop.
Robby Ginepri will serve 2-3 to that man, Andre Agassi. Up 2 sets to 1 over his counterpart, 12 years his junior. Only 5 years ago, the tender age of 17, and just a boy, Robby Ginepri was the runner-up at the U.S. Open Junior Boys Championship. The man who beat him, Andy Roddick. 15 love. Love. It was a win over Andy Roddick in the quarterfinals in Indianapolis. Somewhat helped Robby Ginepri move along in his current pace. Wins on the summer hard courts. Thought there was a big step in getting past his former rival. Still something of a rival. More of a nemesis.
And now teammates, because Ginepri's been recalled to the US Davis Cup squad, not the team. Patrick McEnroe named 5 players, he can only name 4. Now, that's the first point that Agassi has won off the Ginepri first serve in this set. Ginepri's very much stayed in this set on the basis of his first serves, 10 out of 13. Oh, that could have been huge.
That would have been the spot that Andre, we were just speaking of, was waiting for. Just that one chance to perhaps break serve. And look at that open court. Just misses. Oh, it's a tape. Instead of being 30-40, it's 40-30.
Good depth from Ginepri.
3-all. Love 15.
Too long. Out of nothing. And it's at north end again. The longer the rally goes, the more Agassi's winning it. Sometimes we get these statistics broken down into rallies of 3 shots, rallies of 10 shots, and rallies of more than 10. I expect the over 10s are now predominantly Agassi.
30-all.
Yes, it's played right onto Ginepri's racket and not struck particularly firmly.
Opening for Ginepri. Volley, break point. Always a crowd pleaser.
It is,
Ball
isn't it?
stuck in the net. Well, perhaps the crowd is pleased that this is possibly going 5 sets. A break for Ginepri with an opportunity to move ahead. Down 2 sets to 1.
And you know whose hands this is playing into? Probably Roger Federer's. Unless Federer and Hewitt go 5 sets, Federer's going to very much revel in, assuming Federer's going to win, that is, going to revel in the fact that his opponent will have played 3 or 4 successive 5-setters, if it comes to that.
First year, I would have to agree with your assumption that Federer's going to win, having won 8 in a row against Leighton Hewitt, including last year's final. But also interesting to note that Andre Agassi requested that he play first today.
Yep.
Perhaps because of this reason right here, that we're possibly facing a long match, giving him just that little bit more time to rest if he is successful and goes on to the final.
Well, it's 2:40 now local time. The final is due at 4 o'clock, but they never hit the first ball before at least 4:15. So it means that the winner of this one, however long they play, will get 24 hours between the end of this match and the start of the next.
Sliver of hope for Robby Ginepri to move this to a 5th set. Break. Starts things off in his 4th service game of his 4th set with an ace, 15 love.
His serve's kept him in it, really has.
Made mention of his service in this set. He's only lost 3 points on his serve. 14 of 17.
14 of 17 first serves. I think that's the important stat there.
40 love.
This is what players call free points. Aces and service winners. You don't have to do any running, and Agassi not even attempting to play that one back.
5-3 Ginepri.
Agassi's third double fault. Agassi has a decision to make here. Does he go chasing the set, or does he try to save his energy for the start of the 5th? My feeling is he's close enough that it's worth chasing.
15-30. On the south side, perhaps he is aware that that's the side of the court where he's been more successful with the serve. Figures he'll win here.
I think he needs to try and win the service game, whatever. Because even if Ginepri holds, it means that Agassi starts the 5th set on his own serve, and if it gets to 5-4 or 6-5, that could be very important because the pressure will be all on Ginepri. Well, I think it was still worth playing. Just got Ginepri running that extra little bit.
Deuce. Not as fast as serve by any stretch, but very well placed.
You don't want your fastest out wide. Also, the technology they use here tends to read slightly less on the serve out wide than it does down the middle.
Agassi does his part. Holds serve. Ginepri will serve for the 4th set.
Wonder how much is resting on this Ginepri service game in terms of Agassi's chances of winning the title. I still think Agassi could win this in 5. What I'm not convinced about is whether he could then go on and beat Federer after 3 successive 5-setters. This is almost a slow motion final point. The work was done on the serve. Unforced errors and winners for Agassi are identical, 38 each. For Ginepri, 43 and 44, so almost identical. And it was a close match, so we shouldn't be too surprised.
Not only close in the fact that Ginepri is threatening to even things at 2 sets apiece. played 251 points. Befitting the man up. 2-1 thus far. One extra point for Andre Agassi. Serving for the set, Robby Ginepri.
His serve, how well he serves will be crucial. It's lovely. Agassi saw it coming, but he was quite a way behind his baseline. Look how far Agassi is behind the baseline here. Unlike him, obviously decided to give himself a bit of room to see the Ginepri serve.
Ginepri still having lost only 3 points on his serve in this set. Amazing. 30-love.
2 poor points from Agassi, you have to say. He didn't get his feet right for that one. Okay, it was a powerful serve. It's almost as if Agassi is now resigned to a 5th set.
3 set points for Ginepri. Fourth set to Ginepri. For those assembled here at Arthur Ashe Stadium, they will be treated as something that is no longer an anomaly here at the U.S. Open. A 5th set.
And for the first time at the US Open, 3 of the 4 quarterfinals went to 5 sets. Both women's semis went to 5. The quarters had their, sorry, to 3, I beg your pardon, to final sets. The quarters had their fair share as well. But it's going to mean a tremendous story for one of these two. Agassi in the final on 3 successive 5-setters, or Ginepri in the final on 4 successive 5-setters. Having said that, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be dead tomorrow. Stefan Edberg won the title here in '92, having beaten 3 players in 5 sets in his 3 previous matches. Beat Michael Chang in a match that's still a record, I think 5 hours 26 in the semi-final. Beat Richard Krajicek, and he beat somebody else whose name I've forgotten on the way to the final. And then Pete Sampras took the first set against him, and we all thought, oh well, Edberg's going to suddenly show his tiredness. Came back to winning 4. And it was Sampras that looked very tired at the end. But it's not a long 5-setter, it's 2 hours 19, which is moderately short for 4 sets.
An historic 5-set match back in 1933. Fred Perry and Jack Crawford's bid for the first Grand Slam of tennis with a 5-set win over the Australian.
Yeah, Crawford took the 3rd set to lead 2 sets to 1, and I think won 1 more game after that.
Andre Agassi, he will serve to start the 5th and decisive set in the semifinals at the 2005 U.S. Open.
Listen to the crowd. We've got a great atmosphere here.
Starts off with an ace.
Slightly less intimate atmosphere than the old Louis Armstrong. We're watching a few tapes of matches this week. And you had 18,000 people, and they all seem to be breathing on the court. The design of the Arthur Ashe Stadium means that they're not quite as close to the players. Tiering means that a lot of players are fairly far back.
Plus, we're probably a shade under the capacity of 23,352 that the stadium can hold, but you want a bargain for your money. But for 2 semifinals, and the first semifinal goes to a 5-set. Getting their money's worth. 15-30. Two early break points for Ginepri. Start off the fifth set. Agassi gets rid of one, and we mentioned he wanted to try to serve to start this fifth set, and he's doing it from his favored quote-unquote side, north side. Not favored.
That's the one he's
Forgive me.
lost his 4 service games from.
Correction, exactly. This is the side that has not been kind to him.
Oh. Nothing Ginepri did wrong. In fact, Ginepri put a wonderful chopped forehand right on Agassi's baseline. Terrific defensive shot.
Deuce.
Someone screamed out, yes. I can't believe the stadium isn't sold out today. Maybe people have just gone to get a drink or something.
Advantage Agassi. Agassi holds.
And that could be a very, very important game.
First game, final set.
Andre Agassi is 25 and 22 in 5-set matches. Ginepri 4 and 1. 3 of those coming here this year as we take a look at that fourth set and the numbers.
And I think the 74% first serve was critical for Ginepri because he really did serve himself out of trouble. He looked pretty much out of it at the start of the fourth set. Looked very, very tired. But he served very well.
Love.
And that serve is key to his chances. If he can keep serving at this kind of level, then Agassi will have a great deal of difficulty breaking him. I'm surprised to see Agassi making the effort at 40 love. Maybe because it's a fifth set. He says there's no point in holding back.
Is there any doubt, though, who the sentimental favorite of this match is?
Nope. And that's tough on Ginepri. He's playing his home Grand Slam. Semi-finals, a fantastic effort. And there's 22,000 people who are cheering for his opponent. A dream of a shot to end a top quality rally. The quality of hitting in that rally was just outstanding. And applause from Ginepri. The camera didn't pick it up.
Deuce. High-quality tennis for the faithful here on Arthur Ashe Stadium. Start the 5th set. 16 points. 10 of them winners, only one unforced error. Back coming to Andre Agassi, and both players really stepping up to the occasion. Say that the crowd is delighted would probably be a supreme understatement.
The ushers sensibly let some people in. Not supposed to let people in except at changes of ends, but because Agassi was changing his racket for the new balls, they sensibly decided to let a few more people in. 1-all. Well, whatever work Robby Ginepri's done in the gym, whatever ungodly hour he's been getting up at to do the real fitness work, this is where it's paying.
Love 15.
And we're getting to the stage that we got in the James Blake Andre Agassi match on Wednesday night, where whoever wins, you've got to feel desperately sorry for the loser.
All. Brings up the idea, looking at it, quarterfinal facing perhaps what many thought would be the future of American tennis. James Blake goes 5 sets. Agassi prevails. Ace from Andre Agassi moves ahead 40-15. Semifinals.
40-15.
Wants the top 25 player, Robby Ginepri. Another 5-set match. Fellow American.
If you wanted to be particularly perverse, you could say that Blake and Ginepri are scuppering on Agassi's chances of beating Federer in the final. But this is an individual sport. They don't see it that way. It's not like a team event. If this was cycling, Agassi would have been given the team orders to be the guy in front, and Ginepri and Blake would have taken a step back to let him lead. A great shot from Agassi. Not entirely sure Ginepri was right to come in when he did, but quality is getting better.
This is a 2-1 final set.
This is the final point. Agassi really stretching to get that. Now Ginepri comes into the net. Wasn't a great approach shot. It allowed Agassi to put the ball at his feet. Never shows he's feeling tired, Agassi. He must feel tired. But I've never seen it in a match.
Again, that seems to be some of that calmness, that relaxed nature that he has out there. We were talking about him being the understated antagonist somewhat.
Means he doesn't waste any nervous energy.
In that, see, he doesn't show the fatigue level, but you have to imagine that those legs are feeling heavy. They have to be wearing this running around, this moving. It's another 5-setter. It is, granted, it's not high noon. It's not at the apex of the day when the temperature's at its highest, and the temperatures haven't soared today as far as heat, but it is 3 in the afternoon. There's a struggle out there. He will not let on.
Nope.
Time.
Robby Ginepri made a mad dash up the rankings from 2001 to 2003. 7th in the world in 2001, 30th at the end of 2003. Serving 1-2.
Making a pretty mad dash up the rankings on Monday, I guess. 46th this week.
Even gotten as high as number 25 in the world, but then had a dramatic fall from grace out of the top 100 all the way down to 103 before the current run brought him back into favor. Produced some tremendous tennis and great results. 22-year-old.
He could be back to about 25 after this because he was first round loser last year. To win 5 matches. I mean, the thing about rankings, compare it with what a player did the previous year. Because the ranking points from the previous year drop off. Well, he had 1 point to drop off as a first round loser.
Speaking of 1 point drop off, only drops 1 there in that service game. Evens things out. 2 games all. Still serving very well.
Gets 450 ranking points for being a Grand Slam semi-finalist.
Agassi, no stranger to falling dramatically in the rankings. You mentioned earlier, 1997, all the way down to 141 in the world. Finished the year at 122, and somehow, amazingly, 2 years later was year-end #1.
Thanks in part to that man, Gil Reyes.
Something that even more separates Agassi from everyone else, and truly in his stature and his legend.
Well, in '99, when his relationship with Graf was beginning, when he became only the 5th man ever, not just Open era, but ever, to win all 4 majors.
He truly is a legend. He leads 3-2 in the 5th. Trying to reach another US Open final.
In fact, if you look at it in terms of the historical perspective, Agassi is only the 2nd player in the Open era to have won all 4. Rod Laver did a pure Grand Slam in 1969. The only men's Grand Slams have been done with everybody eligible. Don Budge did it in 38, Laver did it in 62, but that was when many of the best players were banned from entering the Grand Slams because they were on the professional circuit. But in 69, Laver did all 4. Agassi's done all 4 in his career. Wimbledon, first one 92, US Open, first one 94, the Australian 95, and then when he won the French in 99, he had 1 of each. He'd got 1 of all 4. And then when it came to, he's now got 8 titles, and he's added 1 more US and 3 more Australians.
September 10th, 1962. The Rocket, Rod Laver, first man since 1938 to win the Grand Slam, as he defeated one of the other 5 gentlemen to win a career Grand Slam, Roy Emerson, in the final of the US Championships. Historic day in Grand Slam history. Robby Ginepri serving Andre Agassi. Agassi, Rod Laver, Roy Emerson, Fred Perry, Don Budge. 5 men. And all 4 Grand Slams in the course of their career. Love 15.
Another advantage for Agassi of serving first is if he were to get a break here, or in Ginepri's next service game, save a game in terms of the length of the set. Doesn't look like breaking just yet.
30-15.
Interesting that Ginepri has played 17 points in this set on his own serve. He's got the first serve in 15 times. But 2 occasions when he's missed his first serve, Agassi's won the point. This is a massive opportunity for Agassi.
30 all.
See what he was doing with it. Not sure that that was the right play. Going for a big shot, yes. But charging in behind it.
40-30.
Just get the sense that Ginepri's wobbling a bit here. He's still got it in his control. If he can get a couple of big first serves, he should be back at 3 all. Wow, that was a big first serve, not his biggest. And there's Jaden, Agassi's son.
For next month, looking on his daddy. Has a break point, chance to go up 4-2 in the 5th set.
Well played.
Back to deuce.
This beautiful placement. Agassi did well to get it back. Had to commit one way. Well, we cannot emphasize the quality of tennis and the fitness of both men. They've been playing for 2 hours and 38 minutes. There's so much mileage on their clocks this tournament, and they can still produce a point like that.
Really has been a remarkable 5th set. Another break chance, Andre Agassi.
It's not up. Agassi's broken on the drop shot. A stroke of genius. I don't like using the word genius because it's overused, but I somehow feel that in terms of the stroke he played on that point, the description is worthy.
Waiting for the right opportunity, the right moment. Agassi puts a little spin, and
I'm not sure if Ginepri wasn't slightly robbed on that one, but then Agassi would have belted the ball away.
4-2. Ginepri offered no argument.
Oh.
This is the way you see it. You want to see it come down. A high level of tennis. Not someone making mistakes and errors and losing the match, but someone stepping forward and attempting to win it on his racket.
All of us, I include myself a little bit, have said over the last 5 years, I think Agassi may be finished now. To be watching this.
120-mile-an-hour serve, 15th of the match for the man they call the A-Train, 30 love.
The A-Train is speeding at the moment.
Momentum on the 35-year-old side as he had a chance to go up 5-2 in front of the 23,000 assembled at Arthur Ashe Stadium. All-important 5th set.
What a game.
Standing ovation. It's Agassi. Leads 5-2.
It's a wonderful moment, this. It's been a very, very good tournament. Plenty of five-setters. There's a couple that will live in the memory. I suspect this one won't be quite as much of an emotional roller coaster as the Agassi-Blake, but still a fantastic way to get Super Saturday underway. It's a term that I was reluctant to use for a long time because I felt that there was just too many riches on one day. But I think now they put the women's final in the evening rather than sandwiching it between the men's and the first and second men's semi-finals. I think that it's well spread out, gives the women's showpiece event the space and the stage that it deserves. But this is a fantastic atmosphere.
Still plenty of daylight remaining. Women's tennis under the lights to decide who will take home the trophy. Kim Clijsters and Mary Pierce will do battle this evening. And this is just the start of the Super Saturday. We still have Roger Federer and Leighton Hewitt to come. The excitement is palpable in the stadium court. Arthur Ashe. Just so important for fans to see quality tennis, not someone giving it away, but someone stepping forward. We've had an amazing fifth set. Robby Ginepri will get things underway as he tries to hold and force Agassi to win it on his racket. Close.
Yeah, Ginepri left that one. Agassi just looking curiously. Not quite sure what about.
23 combined winners and only 6 errors between the two players in this fifth set. Just high quality, terrific level of tennis.
Agassi was actually just having a word with the line judge. I think he felt that the third shot of the first point of this game was dubious.
15-all.
There were 2 poked forehands from Robby Ginepri. That's a sign that his legs are heavy.
All. Race number 17. Ginepri, 40-30.
Well, his service kept him in it, no question. It kept him in it in the fourth set early on when Agassi looked set to take over.
Number 7 seed, Andre Agassi, serving for the match.
Isn't that a sight? A great sight. He's got not a lot to compare it with, young Jaden.
Love.
A lot of people felt that an early shot in that rally from Ginepri was long.
What a joy it must be for the 35-year-old to have his children in attendance to see him play.
Absolutely. Not that to be thinking of them at the moment. Well, it's phenomenal defending from Agassi.
For Jaden and Jazz, a chance to see Daddy move on to the U.S. Open Championship Final with 3 match points in front of him. His fellow American, Robby Ginepri. I think it's safe to say, Chris, that almost a goosebump-worthy moment.
Yes, look at this. 22, maybe even 23,000 people in the stadium on their feet. It's a little moment of history. It's part of the Agassi legend. Whatever histories of tennis come to be written, whatever histories of sport come to be written, this man deserves a big chapter, and he's still writing more chapters of his own story.
And the man from Las Vegas, definitely with a showman's flair, has been able to put together a tremendous run at the 2005 U.S. Open. Round of 16. Defeated Xavier Malisse in 5 sets. The quarterfinals, defeated James Blake in 5 sets. And in the semifinals, defeats Robby Ginepri in 5 sets. 6-4, 5-7, 6-3, 4-6, 6-3 to advance to the championship final.